Mimi ni mkazi wa Laikipia. Nimezaliwa Laikipia North Sub County ya Laikipia. Kazi yangu hasa kwa British Army baada ya kustaafu kutoka kwa jeshi la Kenya ni kazi ya range officer kwa upande wa Archers Post na Laikipia Training Area. Kuhakikisha kwamba wazungu wakikuja hapa ama exercising troops both wale wa jeshi ya Kenya na wa British Army tunawa provide sehemu safe ya kufanyia mazoezi. Sehemu safe inamaanisha away from wild animals ama tuna sport wanyama. Tunahakikisha pia wanyama wanakuwa hawafanyiwi madhara yoyote. Mazingira inakuwa iko sawa na local community. Upande wa Archers Post huwa tunaanza karibu wiki mbili kabla hawa jamaa hawajakuja. Tunaenda huko, tunaongea na wazee, tunafanya mikutano. Tunajua maisha yao iko namna gani, wana graze wanyama yao wapi, siku ya soko ni gani, visima ya maji ile wamechimba ni wapi. Alafu tunajaribu kuhakikisha hawasumbuliwi na mazoezi ya kijeshi kwa vyovyote vile. Wataendelea na maisha yao na jeshi nayo inaendelea na maisha yao kama kawaida. Tukikuja upande wa Laikipia, sana sana wana train kwa private land, inaitwa training on private land. Tunaongea na wenye mashamba, tunawaambia tuna intend kutumia area fulani. Tunaangalia kwamba haina wanyama wale ambao ni endangered kama wild dogs. Kama kuna wild dog fulani imezalia mlima fulani, tuna avoid hiyo area ndio tusihamishe. Kama kuna simba pengine imezalia mahali, tuna make sure that hasumbuliwi. Tunahakikisha kwanza tumesurvey kwa ndege na kwa ground kwamba hatuwezi kuinterfere na ile flora and fauna ya hiyo area. Then pia kwa private land, surrounding community ama wenyeji wale wanakaribia hizi mashamba wanapata kibarua ajira ya siku moja ama siku 20 na kuja kusupport the exercise. Kupopulate villages na kuact kwa scenario ya village fulani pengine imevamiwa, hiyo mpaka uwe na watu umepopulate kwa hiyo village. So that's how our locals wana benefit. Then pia tuna grade mabarabara, tunakata fire breaks kuhakikisha tunaweka mikakati yote ya kuzuia mambo yote mbaya kutokea. Then kila asubuhi tunarusha ndege helicopter, tuna make sure that ina spot wanyama. Ikiona wanyama mahali fulani wanakunywa maji, tunaongea na radio, tunaambia askari wa avoid ama wana detour wanaondokea wanyama. So sio wanyama wa kuondokea, ni wewe uondokee wanyama, wanyama waendelee kuishi maisha yao na wewe ufanye mazoezi yako. Pia tunafanya vitu kama dams ili wanyama wapate maji. Kama sasa kuna ukame, kuna lori imekuwa hired ya kusupply maji in the area.
Thank you. The permanent presence of Batik means that we are very much part of the local community and try to integrate ourselves into that local community and add value as much as best we can. That extends to where we have elements of both exercising and permanent staff conducting community engagement activity, refurbishing schools, supporting water capture projects, doing grading on some of the more remote local roads in order to ensure freedom of movement. And then we also then support particular aspirations that local councils and local governors want to support, both in terms of funding and actual coordination and equipment support. When it comes to our safe place of training, we've got very strict regulations when it comes to what natures and types of ammunition we can use whilst training here. And in fact, the restrictions are significantly more stringent in Kenya when we train here than it is in the UK. So the only place where we conduct live activity and live fire activity, where some of the munitions you've mentioned might be used, is up in Archer's Post. And then we do some very limited small arms live fire just with rifle over in central Laikipia to the west of Nayati. In terms of what we use, we follow very strong and tough guidelines as to what's safe and what is not, and white phosphorus is not something that we are intending to use currently.
White phosphorus is used by the British Army only for illumination, so as part of flares, and for screening as giving off smoke. So we do train with it at Archer's Post when conditions allow. So if it's very dry and windy, then we don't use it because there's a danger that it's going to start fire. In terms of its environmental impact, it's really no different to that of other munitions that we use there. And white phosphorus is used by more or less every army in the world for those roles, and it doesn't create an environmental hazard more than high explosive does. And as we saw earlier in the year on range sweep, we make a big effort to clear the areas that we train with those kind of munitions on. We go around, make sure there are no component parts left, and clean up after ourselves. So we don't believe that white phosphorus presents a hazard more than any other munition. Because we clear after we've used it, then there is very little. There might be some tiny particles of white phosphorus left in the environment, but the actual shells that it's fired in are cleared up afterwards, and we do a specific sweep every year to make sure that we find them all and get rid of them. In terms of them getting into the hands of bandits, I think that's very unlikely. They're not. It's not like hand grenades or anything like that. These are mortar shells which are shot out of a mortar tube, and they wouldn't have the means to launch them. So I don't think there's any danger of that. And British Army secures its equipment. Well, we're very careful to make sure that our equipment is always secure. So there is no evidence, and we have not lost any weapons for a number of years, and there's no evidence that any of our munitions have got into the hands of bandits in recent times.
The KDF relationship with the Batuk or the British Army dates back to 50s, 60s and all that, and the training has taken, we've been with them all along training, and previously, as they said, they have increased their force or training units in Kenya. We do joint training frequently, and from the experience we gather a lot, because the British Army is experienced, seasoned, and they have conducted a lot of operations, as you know, in Afghanistan, Iraq, and also KDF has conducted a lot of operations, especially in Somalia. So we come in and exchange these experiences and learn from each other. Especially technology-wise, they learn from our technology and all that. So purely it's symbiotic. Thank you so much.